Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are joining. I can see some familiar names, and I'd just like to hear, just get sense of who we are, like where everybody is. So maybe your track, because I can see Sinesifo. I know she's a graduate currently, like she graduated in March last with the last cohort. Can see Sekinat, Fauzia, um, just so I don't murder some names, I will not pronounce it. I can see Daniel Jukeng. I don't know if I pronounced it well, and Priest. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you are good. This is like a mini icebreaker before others join. So it's just us that are here that would enjoy it. But I'd like to hear like what cohorts are you in? Oh, Karatu, all right. So you can just rep your cohort and your track. So I just have a sense of who is joining us currently. Oh, product marketing, great. Currently about to wrap up. Very soon you'll also be graduating. That's nice. I'm waiting for others. Karatu product management. Okay, that's nice. Mm-hmm. Product marketing, Karatu. Okay. All right. Who else? Zinas. Yeah. Okay. Aside that, how has our day been, or how is the day going? Wherever you are currently. Product design, Baraka. Okay. Hi. How has this is officially, I think, 1 month post graduation. So such a great timing. Hi. How has it been? How are you doing? I'm still waiting for more. Can just type it in. Yeah, people are joining in much more. I think I can see Lydia, Abdullah, Adejare, Precious. So what we are doing is just writing our cohort and track in the chat. So hi in the chat, so I get a sense of um the current, like people currently in this session and what track we are in while we wait for our speaker to join us. Mm, Anoluwa, Anoluwa for Karatu product management. Okay. Product management, Sinyuka. Hi. Mm. Hello. So, yes, our speaker is here. Hi, Afalake. Can you hear me? Yeah, current.
Is it good now? Yeah, I think it's good. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
So, hello, hello. Good afternoon or good evening.
Good evening. So glad to have you here. How are you
Thank
doing
you so much for
about
having me.
your day?
Well, it's been good. It's been
Mm.
good. It's been all right. It's been progressive, I would say. Yeah, it's been good. And I'm happy to be here, most importantly. Glad to
Mhm.
be here.
All right, thank you so much. So I think everyone, I'd like us to welcome our speaker, Afolake,
Thank
um,
you.
to just help me send her like a round of applause to welcome her. You can use the React to just welcome our speaker, and I'm sure you'd have a great session with her where she would be speaking about she'll be speaking about the topic. Sorry, I'm coming. I just got like an email that distracted me. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm back. So she'll be speaking about the topic speaking business value and revenue as a product leader. And like I shared in the email, where I gave a brief overview of who our speaker is and what she has done. So I'm sure that you are definitely happy to be here if you're here. And if you're not here, if you're watching the recording after, I'd encourage you to just listen actively to learn from all she has from her wealth of experience. So let me just give a brief introduction again for those that did not read the email. Afalake is a product owner with over 4 years experience spanning across product design and product ownership, primarily within the fintech and payment sector. She holds a master's in business with business analysis from Northumbria University, and Afolake is currently building OpenNest, which is a product-led open source community empowering early stage talent to build real world skills across product design, product management, and product ownership and product marketing, which is why I extended like this invite to all tracks in the School of Products. So you see learners from product design, product management, and also product marketing. And yeah, she is also leading product initiatives at Her Story Nigeria and contributes to Women Coding Community London. She's also a Rising Star nominee at the 2026 Black Tech Achievement Awards, sponsored by AVEVA, which her insight has been published on Medium's Bootcamp publication, and her work has been featured in Tech About, The Punch, and The Guardians. In 2024, she was named a top 25 delegate and one of the winners of Aleto Foundation Leadership Program, funded by Sir Ken Ulisa Obe, which is a Black Lord Lieutenant in British history, and returned the following year as a body to the incoming cohorts. So she's passionate about connecting product decisions to business value and helping the next generation of product professionals find their voice. Um, so this, I'm very sure that this session will be very insightful. If you check her up on LinkedIn, you would see that this is a topic she's very passionate about, having like written articles and even post about it, ensuring that people in the product professions are able to connect what they do to the business value and revenue at the long run. So you're able to actively speak with confidence what you do and how your impact is to the business. Once again, so I don't take too much of time, so our speaker can begin. I would like to say, please join me in giving high round of applause as she joins me in stage. She's currently in stage, but as she starts to speak, thank you so much, Afalake, for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really glad to be here. Thank you, everyone. I can see that we have about 55 people on board. Okay, 56 people on board. Thank you so much, Ari, for the wonderful welcome and intro. That was really great. Um, okay, to start with, I think the first thing I want to ask is I just want to like ask people, maybe one or two people, can you just tell me what you want to get out of this conversation today? Because I would say to me it's a conversation. Um, yeah, this is not just a typical talk where we just, where also Africa brings in people and they just new things. Like, what is your of this talk today? Like, what are the okay, what is the one or two, three things you want to get out of this conversation regarding this topic today? So, can I have maybe one or two people? Maybe Eric can help me manage that. I think we'll just do that for about 5 more minutes. then I would start sharing my slides. Then we'll take it up from there.
All right. So if you want to speak, you can just raise your hand and I'll bring you up on stage, or you can share it in the chat. But I would also like to share, because I sent a form to the learners when I told them about this session, and added a question: what would you like addressed in this session? So I have like responses that I can read out while we wait for people to share from here. So the first one is, someone says how to clearly articulate and communicate the intersection between product benefits and business goals to create a win-win for both customers and the business. And then I have another response which says what being a product owner is and what are the key skills needed to be a product owner. I also have another response saying I would like to learn more about product operations and how it plays a role in driving business revenue and growth. Yeah, let me come back here to see if there's like anybody that wants to. Okay, I see a hand raised. Yeah. Hello, Victor Daramola.
Evening.
Okay. Hi,
Good evening.
Damola. Can you turn on your camera? Let's see you. Let's hear where you're calling from, or where
Okay.
you're joining us from. If that's fine by you. I want to make it so
Um,
interactive as most
my room is not
importantly.
very lighted. There's no light.
Okay, that's fine. Because most importantly, one of the things that you need to know or understand about being working in product is you have to be very vocal. Aside from being vocal, you have to have leadership qualities, and these are habits that you have to form and pick up really early. So you can't wait till you get into the role. So you literally have to start now to build those qualities. So yeah.
Okay. So like my question is like I follow a few like design platforms because I'm in product design track, and um artificial intelligence is optimizing a lot of things today, and especially entry level stuff like, so it's really, that question just keeps coming like, okay, I mean, how do I really like get into this space if I mean most entry level tasks or jobs are almost already replaced by artificial intelligence? I mean, what do I need? What would separate me? I think that's better with what will separate me from, other like designers or other product designers? What will make me more preferred or more credible? That's my question.
And actually a very, very good question. Be very fair. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm just having a little bit of issue with my internet connection, so I want them to just clear me fix that. Just give me a minute of your time.
All right, no problem. So for others, you can drop your questions in the session so she can put that in mind while taking the session today. And if you have friends that are not here, you can nudge them to join the session. You can drop it in your groups on Slack or on WhatsApp, or just have friends you can reach out to directly to join the session. I'll be on the lookout. Or if you want to speak also, you can just raise your hand and I'll bring you up while we wait for her.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for that little break. Yes, so I heard what Dharmala said. Your question has to do with the the new development with AI and its interaction or its impact on entry-level roles and how to effectively work in that domain, right? If I got that right. Is that correct, Dharmala?
Yes, yes, that's correct.
Great, thank you. I'm going to put up on that note that down. Um, then I think Aura can bring up someone else. So I think we've been able to gather about 3 questions or 4 now with Dharmala's one. So I could proceed from there. But if there's anyone that still needs to say something or share something with us before we like get along, then we could quickly bring the person up, then move on from there.
Um, okay, I saw a comment, someone saying the call was breaking, but I think it's getting better. I don't know, let me read this question and then if you can say something, then I would know the situation for now. The person says, for PMs who are early in their career or in smaller organizations without much executive exposure, how do you start building credibility as someone who thinks in business value, not just delivery?
Okay, that's actually a very good question. So now we can take Victor or Dharmala out, then I could share my presentation.
Yeah, I think you can go ahead now.
Okay, good. Sure. Great. Okay, I'm just gonna go on to share my screen and pick it up from there. Okay. Just give me a second. Wow. For some reason, my screen is freezing. I don't know if you can still hear me. Can you still hear me, guys?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. My screen seems to be freezing. That's weird. Okay. Okay.
Do you want to try leaving the call and joining? Okay, I can see it. It's
No,
called.
I think it's fine. We'll just take care of it. It's fine. Can you
Yes.
all see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. 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 Okay. 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 Oh, then can proceed. Okay. We can proceed now. Okay, so I think when to start off once again, I'm Afalake. Thank you all for being on the call. I think to start off, when already reached out to me about speaking about business value and revenue as a product leader, I think one of the things that made me excited for this talk is because unlike other platforms where they are teaching people or talent about products, they sort of like go through the frameworks. They sort of like go through the normal routes of, okay, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. But this is so practical. And I think Old School Africa, I have to give it to you that you guys are doing a great job by engaging the product cohort with this kind of conversation. I think it's a really phenomenal thing to be doing. So thank you so much again for having me. Um, one of the first things that I had to do was to really think through about my own experience, right? For context, I started out as a product designer And before I did product design, because for a lot of people, I know that it's probably like your first time in product, or maybe you're just building out the experience. But at the end of the day, some journeys are not linear. It's different for a lot of people. I studied entrepreneurship in school for my BSc, but I majored in project management. Then from then on, I went on to do business analysis. I worked in a role for about 3 to 6 months. Then I delved into product design fully, and at some time I was an OAP just to earn some extra bucks as well. Then I mean, like I had two jobs. I was doing the OAP because it was something that I had passion for on the side, and modeling as well. And I think it was just a lot of train, and I just wanted to focus on something, right? And I delved into product design. Product design for me was really, really great. And from product design, I landed an international role with a US company in fintech. They were doing Web3 payment system. I'm talking about crypto payments, cross-border payment infrastructure. I'm talking about you learning about different kind of payment rails, USD. I mean, for some people that work in fintech, they would get to know about all of these things that I'm talking about. Swift, ADHD, Plaid, payment infrastructure rails that you can connect to any of your applications for payments and all that thing. Then I went on from there. So while I was in that role, I happened to have worked in a role that required me to stretch myself. And as a product person, even without being a designer or as a product person, you are always going to be at that point where you have to decide for yourself where your career is headed. You can find yourself in any company, but you have to always understand that at the end of the day, it is always going to be you, and what you bring to that role is what makes it different, it is what defines that role, not necessarily what the company has told you to do. So when I say what you bring to the role, I'm talking about the the experience, the quality work, the exceptional work that you put in. No role is easy, of course, but you have to have that mindset of going ahead, taking ownership, taking control, and not just sitting around to wait for whatever anybody has to say. So moving on. So we already know what the topic is. I would go on to talk about all of this stuff. So I really hear that why that topic matters is why talking about um business value and revenue as a product, why it really matters is because the gap between PMs or people that work in product who get funded and those who don't is majorly about the kind of language that is speak. And the reason why I said this is because as a PM, you want to be communicating with business impact. I mean, like I wrote it here, right? 72% of your communication has to do with the business impact. Even when you are trying to write a PRD, you are trying to write a PRD, you are trying to like work on like maybe like an application or like a new product now before sign off, there's going to be a point where you are in between trade-offs with the stakeholders, with the engineers, with the designers and everybody. If you are unable to communicate the impact of that product, right? If you're unable to communicate it, you are going to be one of those PMs that nobody wants to listen to them. People just think they can just dump things on you and that'll be it. Like you just realize that your PRD is filled with so many recommendations, or do this or do that. You have to know how to communicate. Number two is more roadmap buy-in when tied to revenue metrics, right? You want to ensure that your your roadmap is defined. And when I mean it is defined, I mean like there is there must be an end goal of why you are creating a roadmap, right? There must be an end goal to why you are creating a roadmap. There must be an end goal to why you are creating a PRD, for example. There must be an end goal to everything. And one thing that I always tell a lot of PMs is that you have to understand that whatever product you are trying to build, you are actually building for users, not for people, not like think of people as your users. So without you creating a product that can retain your users on your platform or on the application, you are going to be unable to create a product that converts revenue. And the end goal, like every company wants to earn money here, the end goal is to make profit at the end of the day. And every company wants to make money. So you have to find a way to relate the business impact, the business vision, and the goal to your problem and the solution you'll be providing. I think the third one is reason product ideas are rejected, meaning like unclear business cases, right? So like I said, if your product ideas are rejected, it's probably because it is not clear enough. You don't want to be that PM that doesn't have a definite reason why they are creating a product or why a product should be signed off, right? So that's going to be the first part. The second part is going to be the mindset shift. Stop thinking in future, start thinking in outcome. This is another very important thing to think of. A lot of product people are very feature minded. It's about, oh, make this design, make this button brighter, make change the color of this button, or add a pop-up here, or create or like add like a sign off um modal here or something. Or oh, I checked this application and they have this. I think we should add it to our own application too. For some people, it might be saying, oh, I think our engineers are not to work, they just want their engineers to work on multiple things at the same time, right? But when you are thinking in terms of business value, you are thinking of how, remember what I said about you creating products for users. And if you're able to retain them on the application, that means you are able to convert them into being able to pay for your product or subscribe for your product. And that would mean you being able to generate revenue in some way. So when you're thinking of functionality in product building or anywhere you find yourself, think about how that design decision can influence the churn rate of your product. Think about how the notification could prompt them to take a decision that could lead to them being retained on your app. Think about how the just just think about how if you are creating a sprint for 2 weeks, right? How can the result or the outcome of this sprint, how can it move the company forward into the company generating maybe if your aim is for you guys to be able to for your company or for your product to be able to like build a product and for you to work to the point where um you can have a number of sign-ups and you can have customers transacting with your application within 2 or 3 months. That is all well and good. That could be your vision. And you have to make sure that every decision you make, you build it around that decision. This is the fourth slide, right? The framework. Every product decision should answer 3 questions, of course, meaning what problem does it solve, what value does it create, and how will we measure success? The first one is your user pain and business pain. Like I said, yes, the company is your priority, but you also have to understand that the company's customers are also your priority. So you have two things to do with. You have the company's priorities and the user priorities, which means the pain points, the drop off, the numbers of churn rates you're having, the drop offs you're having, the conversion rate you're having, everything matters. And as a PM, all this data are things that you have to document as you're moving on. Then for your business thing too, you need to listen to your stakeholders. What are they saying about this product? What do you think, or what do they think you should do better? What are the things that, so you have to have been able to do your research on a product when you're building to a point where you've been able to, you have your data there and you have a track record of every other product that you built and the data, right? And that's what documentation does for you as a business person. Documentation and research is something you have to dive deep into. And that is exactly what it does for you. Because what it does for you is it gives you a track record of information over a long period of time. So when you are at the crossroads of making trade-offs or making business decisions or product decisions, you are in that time you would have built your product sense. Product sense is simply you understanding how your product works, right? If they say, okay, build, you need to work on this product, build an app, build a donation app, right? On the go, right there, and then you're able to think of, oh, who are the people that will use this product? Or say they say, okay, create an app that helps people to be able to use the library, right? So you need to think of who are your customers. You break them down. Students, um, people that work from home, maybe once in a while they might like to go into the library to work from the library, right? You might want to think um of children, right? Children in kindergarten, their parents might want to like take them out of the house to go to the library to like read some stuff. So you want to research on then you want to think of what kind of library you want to have libraries on the app that children can use and parents too can also probably use. You want to think of a library that has like a small kindergarten section where children can use, right? You want to also think about something that works for people that work from home. Okay, does this library accommodate people that work from home? Are they allowed to bring in their laptops? Are they allowed to do this? Are they allowed to do that? So on the go, you're already thinking of these solutions. You're already thinking of, okay, if this is going to be the case, if they need to sign up, how are we able to connect, or how are we able to work on our APIs, or how are we go or basically I don't want to complicate things, or basically what do we need from those libraries for our users to be able to sign up on their platform when they are on our app, so that they don't have to necessarily go to the library. So when a library has already accepted them, they know that the library has accepted them. They don't have to go to the libraries to find out which one they can use. They can see the pictures of the library, they can see the space, they can see sitting arrangements. Do they have like a cubicle where they could probably use? Do they have like a kindergarten section where children can just type and practice things? So those are the things like product sense. You bring your product sense skills to the front and start thinking of, oh, these are the things that I should be doing. These are the things that I should work on. The number two is what value does it create? Right? You cannot have a product if there is no value at the end goal. For example, for Hot School Africa, I'm going to use Hot School Africa as an example. The value of School Africa sought out to create from the beginning, right? It was to create opportunity for people to earn or to build their skills. And at the end goal of building that skill is for you to be able to earn good money. Because most importantly, the reason why you're doing all of this work is for you to be able to earn good money. Aside offering value to companies, aside building your skills to give something, right? It's for you to be able to like build your life. They are giving chances and opportunities to people that probably don't want to go through the normal school system of going to uni, taking any kind of course. But if you go through this this journey with old school, it's like you are still going to go through that normal school, but in this scenario, in this case, you are doing what you like. You are building your education around your career, or like people that had to figure it out on their own without guidance. And we all know how the Nigerian educational system is like. So it's not even something I want to delve into, right? So the value is always at the end goal, right? So when you think of the value, then you create a model or a structure. How can this generate revenue? How am I able to retain? So Alt School Africa has thought about the value that they are creating. Okay, we want to train 10,000 people in product and engineering in data. Our end goal is to make sure that they are skilled enough to be able to land a remote job. They are skilled enough to be able to land a high paying job that can help them contribute to the tech ecosystem in any way, right? And they think of their revenue, their retention, their efficiency, and their risk, right? And if you look at the journey so far with also Africa, it's been consistent. They've been out there doing their thing. It's been very consistent. And that has shown that they know what they are doing, right? They probably tried out different kinds of models out and they've been able to figure out what really works. And as they keep going with the amount of data that they have, they'll keep building on that. Number three is how will we measure success? You have your KPIs, you have your OKRs, you have your leading and lagging indicators. Your key performance indicators, for example, you just have to know what are you going to use to measure your key performance indicator. It could be anything. It could be sign up rate. It could be um you could use the number of transactions that takes place on your application every single day. You could have a what's it called? An estimation of the number of people you want to have that will determine that okay, I think we've been able to build to some extent. Then from there you could also think of okay, maybe we could also think of having them being able to use this feature, use that feature, use that feature. Because at the end of the day, you just don't want people on the platform without engaging. You want to ensure that when they sign up, they have something to do that can generate the company funds. But at the same time, you have to think of value and how best to go about it. And when you're measuring your success, you are not just measuring it based off on the revenue. You are thinking of all the things that did not work as well. The number of times people dropped off. You are thinking about that and how best you can fix that. Okay, say for maybe you are building the same library product that I give an example of, and after building, people signed up, and you had the first week you discovered that you had 10,000 sign-ups. Then the following week you had 4,000 drop off. Something is definitely wrong somewhere. So you need to think what could be causing this. Get a user or get two or three or five of the customers that have signed up. Have a meeting with them, make them use it, interact with them, note what their conversations were, note what their pain points were. From there, gather all those data, go back, iterate on them, see what you can do better, test run it again, let people use it. So you measure all these factors and you see what really works and what doesn't work. Then you're able to make amendments based upon that. Number five is this is a real world example. So I tried to like put in Spotify to discover what their weekly stuff is all about. But I think I should have used the library one so it doesn't look too complicated or anything. So this is just an example, right? The business language, 30% of users churn within 3 months of sign up. Root root cause, our content discovery beyond top, low content discovery beyond top 40. Personalized weekly playlist, that is like an habit format. They want you to stay on the application, and that's what I'm being what and that was what I was talking about product sense, right? They've thought about how can we keep people here. So anytime you go to Spotify, right, and if you are listening to a song, sometimes when you play a particular song, what they do is the next one, they will tailor it to something similar to what you have just listened to. And that is a high level of user experience. And aside from that, that is also AI at play, right? Because how are they able to know what you like? There is some sort of artificial intelligence that has gone into it for them to be able to tailor your needs, right? Aside from, yes, there are APIs and there are backend work going on behind the scenes that you do not know about. But there's also an infrastructure that has been built to tailor your music likeness to what they are used to you listening to. And whatever you listen to, they'll look at the genre and the mode and try to slot in another song that looks quite similar to that, right? So I use an example of what their target could be. Could be like cut early churn by 15%, and the end goal can be them making $50 million in annual revenue a year. So that's like an example, right? And on the end, I created like a result chart just to show you what their streams could look like based off on those decisions that they've made here, right? 40 million streams in the first week, maybe less than 18% early stage churn, which is a very good percentage for churn rate. There may be incremental value could be $80 million and above. Now, another thing that Spotify did business wise, another thing that they did was to create. So they've not just created this product; they've they've helped people to tailor their habits towards their product. A lot of people cannot even get things done without listening to music. Some people can't can't do anything. So it's just a normal thing for a lot of people. You want to listen to songs, you want to listen to music, but there's a way they've been able to build the application that it just feels like you. When you open the application and you're about to like listen to a song and you just try to check, right? There's a way it's interactive. It feels like you. It feels like you are in control. And that is the cheat code for every PM. You want to create a product that people can personalize. It can feel so personal to people. I don't think you've successfully built a product if people can't wake up in the morning and they're able to just say, oh, I need to do this. And they're able to just relate to your product. It feels very natural to want to just open the product and use it. That means you've been able to build a consistency that has shaped how they think. And at the end of the day, beyond being a product person, you are thinking of user experience, you are thinking of interface too. But most importantly, you are thinking of the emotional side of being a product person. Because how does this then impact these people and how does it like affect them and how does it help them to stay on your application? Um, our sixth slide is about I use Paystack. It is a mobile money integration application. This is just also like an example of business language. The whole lesson here is about business language, numbers, strategic narrative, and not just feature description. So I said, oh, we are leaving 34% of transactions on the table. Customers drop off because they don't have a card. Mobile money closes that gap. At our current GMV, that's 2.1 billion in recoverable revenue per quarter, right? So Paystack doesn't have a card and they want to have a card that enables people to be able to make transactions, right? How are they going to be able to close that gap? That is a task. That's another thing they have to figure out. Firstly, maybe they have to bring in a company that has a card infrastructure or buy a company or buy maybe a startup that has an infrastructure. They might also decide to build by themselves, but if they buy a company that is already doing something that they want, it might help to also cut off their expenses. There is something to lose, there's something to give or gain, right? So they're able to bring somebody that's already doing the work. All they have to do is to change the whole direction, change the name, rebrand it. All they have to do is really the rebranding because why the application is already there. So they just have to rebrand and repurpose that product into theirs and rebrand it to have Paystack's name. And that is it. They have a card products and tailor the product experience to what they really, really want. So at the end of the day, they've been able to think of their revenue impact, if that is the case they would want to go for. They've been able to think of their revenue impact, right? To make 2.1 billion naira per quarter recorded via their mobile money application. The strategic fit is to expand terms on bank and card averse users, right? So they'll be thinking of users in the market. They'll be thinking of students. They'll be thinking of corp members, people that are serving. They'll be thinking of the normal 9 to 5 users. They'll be thinking of people that own companies. They might also be thinking of people, nomads, people that travel, like nomads that like to work from different cities, different countries. They might also decide to say, okay, this application, we want to also have a payment system where Web3 payment is also accepted. So the beginning of crypto payments within that card application as well. That's just an example. It's something is very possible. Then their competitive mode would be okay, feature gap versus Flutterwave. So they will probably be thinking of Flutterwave as their best competitor. And they'll be thinking of how can they retain their own SME merchants? How are they able to get their own merchants to be able to get things done to their own liking? So the next one is, I hope we are following. I hope I've not lost anybody. The next one is that's our seventh line. It's revenue levels every PM must know. So these are some revenue levels, or if you don't want to use the word levels, it could also we could also use revenue directors, right? So the first one is acquire. And what do they mean, right? Basically, you want to think of at what point do I think I'm growing? At what point do I think my product is growing, right? I know that you probably have projects to work on. So all these things that we're talking about, these are things that you should put into your project work or your assessment or something, because at the end of the day, you want to start building that capacity from now. You don't want to wait till maybe you're done with school before you actually start practicing these things. So you want to be conversing like you're already in that role, making that decision and doing those great stuff. So you want to think about acquire is one of it, right? Number two is retain, number three is expand, number four is monetize, right? Acquire, like I said, how do you get users or new customers into your application? Number two, to retain, how are you able to keep your existing customers longer? For example, some people have been using Kuda application since it started and they are still on Kuda. For example, I've been using Kuda since I was in Nigeria. I think when I was serving in 2021, I think that was when I signed up on Kuda. And it's been 3 years since I've moved to the UK. I still have my Kuda app. I don't use it all the time, but I use it as well. And I also use it to pay for my younger ones and subscription and all those things. So it's there. I just know that it just works, right? I use another application called Alawi. I've been using Alawi as well since I was in Nigeria too. And it's just there. Like I don't use it all the time, but I'd like to use the application. No, but when I moved to the UK, there were some products that I just felt like I don't need this, I don't need that. closed everything off, right? Because I just felt like I wasn't getting, even while I was back home, I wasn't really getting the best of the product. So it didn't really matter to me. So yeah. So number three is expand. Expand means how can you upsell, how can you upscale, and how can you cross sell existing users. Now, I would want to understand that we know what upselling is. Like you already have some users. Now you want to think of other users that can afford maybe your more expensive features, right? So you want to think of that. Then upscaling would probably also mean thinking of how to partner with other brands or other products or other companies that are doing the same things that you do or something similar that you do that could create more efficiency to what your product provides. Then I'll talk about cross-selling existing users. So cross-selling would be, remember the way I used an example of the library where you have um the 9 to 5 workers that might want to work from the library. Then maybe you have students as well that might want to work in the library. Another thing that a lot of PMs can do, or if you find yourself in a company that is thinking of doing that, is you can think about how you can bring in your student customers into into the kind of um, feature that serves your 9 to 5 work from home workers or customers. Meaning you can even think of, okay, fine, how can we get students into buying the features that we offer to people that work from home and are using our library? So you'll be thinking of organizing an like an event. You can, so at the end of the day, we talk about impact. You'll be thinking of how can you impact them at that early age or stage that would inspire them, or that would create a sort of personalization to them being able to use the library that offers them the opportunity to benefit from your product. So now you are thinking of, okay, let's organize an event, an in-person event at the library, right? Let let let's get people to sign up. Let's get the students to sign up on the application. Let's create like an event or a career networking event that brings both the 9 to 5 workers together. So that means you'll be thinking of the impact the 9 to 5 workers can create on the students. How are they able to advise them? Okay, I want to be a product manager. I want to be a doctor. I want to work in acquisition. I want to work in operations, right? Who are the people that you can bring into the space that can speak to the students? At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, their parents might be able to afford for them to come to the library on weekends or on Friday to use a particular feature that requires them to pay a little bit extra. It might be them having to sit down with maybe a CEO from one company. As long as the parents know that there is a value there, that parents will be willing to pay for for that amount. So even if you have 10 people sign up the first month, which is doable, you definitely have more. Those students would go forth to tell their friends, oh, I use this library or I use this application and it helps me to be able to speak to people that work in so and so. And before you know what's going on, there's word of mouth, right? They tell their parents tell their friends, and that's how you would have like multiple sign-ups on your application. And before you know what's going on, it becomes a thing of, oh, I'm on this application, the Gen Z thing and the and the whole thing, and they will personalize it like, yes, like this is my thing, like this is for me, and I use this, I use that. And you know how everybody comes in December to share what their Spotify rap has looked like over the whole year, exactly what it will look like for them to it to be personal, right? So the fourth one is monetize, being able to convert those value into revenue. I think I mentioned this already. How are you able to convert those value into revenue? So you need to think of how am I able to provide this for them to be able to buy my features or my product, for them to be able to use it. The example of acquire, like if you're going to think of it is CSC, you're thinking about your conversion rate, you're thinking about your activation rate. For retain, you're thinking about your churn rate, you're thinking of MPS, your EAU, your MAU, you're thinking of for expand, you are thinking of your NRR, your ARP, your upsell, conversion rate, ARPU, your LTV. Then on the other side, for acquire, right, for Flutterwave, for example. Meanwhile, for the acquire part, I forgot to mention something that there are different ways to acquire new customers. Sometimes, like I said, it could be through buying a new product. Okay, I use an example with Paystack. Say maybe they want to go on to create their card app and they did not want to necessarily like build from scratch. They could buy a startup that already does that. So when they buy that startup, automatically they inherit the customers and the users on that platform. So I wanted to mention that that's another way to actually acquire new users or new customers on your application. So for Flutterwave, free API sandbox, free dev sign up. So those are like the example. For retainment, for Netflix, what they do is sometimes when you're watching a movie, right? There are times where you could get distracted and you see that pop-up that says I used to watching. That's an example of things. It doesn't have to be something that's so serious, but a lot of times a lot of brands use something that just gets the user, that makes the user just feel very, very, very involved in the whole process. Right. So at the end of the day, they're able to have churn rate and they know that they want people to watch movies, they want people to be there. So they want you to go there and watch movies. Right. So basically. And then I went on to like this other examples, and I think I've been able to like explain all the points to the best of my ability, I guess. So the eighth slide talks about what executives want to see, right? A lot of times when you are talking to stakeholders, the higher stakeholders, for some people, it's not like the stakeholders, the higher stakeholders, it's not like they don't want to follow your path or follow your idea, but you've not been able to clearly state or communicate what they want to see and what they want to hear. Your CEO might not really have the time to sit down with you. I mean, nobody should even have to sit down with you as a product person to start telling you, oh, this is how what you should do, this is what you should do. Do your research extensively and do not have just one way to go about things. Have multiple ways to build stuff, to build ideas so that when you go on to speak with them, you are not just going to be there thinking of, oh, how best can I do this? You know what you want to do and you find yourself doing what you need to do and what you have to do. Well, here I pinpointed problem, opportunity, solution, investment, return, right? So the first one is what is broken and who does it hurt? So maybe customers are not able to, I'll still use the library as well. Maybe customers are not able to sign up, or when they sign up, there is no library assigned to them within their location. That is the problem. That means the checkout rate as an issue. So you want to think about how can we fix this? Because at the end of the day, it is hurting the customers, but most importantly, it is also hurting you as a company. Why? Because when your users are not able to use the product, out of anger, they will drop off. They'll stop opening the app, they'll stop using the app. That way, there is an issue with revenue turnover, and that's a big problem. So you want to think of that. Like number two, so say you are communicating with your executive about okay, what's going on? These are things they want to see and hear upfront. The opportunity is how big is the price? right? Okay, we are losing 4.2 million every month because of this issue. But how are we able to fix it? Or what can we do to fix it? So you need to mention one thing that you can do to fix this issue. So for the library now, what we want to do now is there an issue with our API? Is there an issue with what could be going on? Maybe there's something wrong in the back end that doesn't allow their forms to get completed for them to be able to be assigned to like a library. Could it also be that the libraries are already filled up and and your designs are missing a pop-up screen that actually shows that the library that they picked is already filled up and they are unable to know, and the library is unable to send them a return image or information to let your users know that there's no library here. Because at the end of the day, you might have connected their APIs, but you have to be the one to build the user journey to the very end. So that could be the issue in a lot of cases, but you might not know because you've not walked through that scenario. So aside from thinking of trade-offs, aside from thinking about the happy path in products, you need to also think about the sad part. There are sad parts too, and this is probably like an example of a sad part. So don't just be jollying through creating a product or building a product or building a marketing research or creating a marketing campaign and whatnot. You need to think of what happens if um if I finish with this marketing campaign and it doesn't pull through, what happens if the designs that have been supplied to me from the design team doesn't really pass the information I want the users or the customers to see? What if it doesn't pass it across? So you have to be willing to go the extra mile to probe. Even when you are just probe, test run it by yourself. Think about if I was a user, how would this work? Then you're thinking about the solution. What are we building, right? In one line, okay, well, the solution we are trying to solve, right, is for our customers to be able to sign up on the application and get the library within their commute assigned to them. That's the solution, as simple as that. In turn, what do we need? Okay, we need 6 weeks of work. We need 2 engineers, we need one designer, two designers, and infrastructural wise, to be costing us 15K. Because remember, I told you that there are probably some infrastructures that has to be built in. And using these infrastructures costs money. So as a PM, you need to think of the kind of like you are not just thinking of what to build. You are thinking of how to build your product or how to fix your product. So it goes both ways. So for the returns, okay, if we spend so amount, remember that you're paying, you are working for 6 weeks, and you need two engineers, you need two designers, you need maybe one you might need a QA, right? A QA, like a quality assurance engineer, to just check that things are going on well. We also need an operations manager, right? To ensure that in terms of operations, things are running smoothly. People are using the right ID to sign up. To also check the legality, like, oh, if we're not crossing boundaries with people's information and APR, how is that part being managed? Right. So you need to think of the salary that the company will be paying these people. So all those things, putting them into it is an investment. Right? Then also the return, what's the ROI? Payment in 6 days, 12 months value, 2.1 million net new GMV. So maybe you are thinking that okay, our ROI in the next 6 days or 12 months, once we've been able to fix this issue, maybe the ROI is going to be so amount, and that'll be it. And for the ninth page, we're thinking of speaking the right language, translate PM speak to effective language. So here we're translating how PM speaks to how they would speak to how normal PM speak and how PMs with the business value and understanding how they would speak in the business language terms. So the first one is, you might be communicating on, how have you been able to improve this product? A normal PM would say, oh, we improved the onboarding flow, right? A PM with a business mind would say, we worked on we worked on activation rate up to 22% to earn 300K in incremental annual revenue or something, right? The Another PM might say, oh, we shipped the dashboard redesign, meaning, oh, we redesigned this website, we redesigned this dashboard. A PM with a business mind would say we supported tickets down by 40%, right? To give us 50K per year operation savings. So that means that you were able to redesign the dashboard to reduce whatever issue or retention issues that was happening. And by that, you've been able to reduce support tickets of your customers or your users down by 40%. And in turn, you've been able to earn back on correcting or fixing that issue. Meaning, in terms of operation, you guys have been able to cut back expenses. Then PM could say we added bulk upload, right? But someone with a business mind would say we closed three enterprise deals worth 1.2 million CC, right? So another person might say, oh, we're building an AI feature, just like every person would say. But a person or a PM with a business mind would say we reduce manual operations by 60% by defending against Notion AI, right? So what has happened here is, okay, we have been able to reduce manual operations or manual issues by 60% by using AI to fight against or to defend against what the problem might be. So those are just like basic things that people want to hear you say. You just don't want to say, oh, I designed this, or okay, this has been signed, or, there has to be things. So you have to, so think of your communication process as a PM to be in terms of what you have done, right? It's just like using STAR method, but this time around, it's not STAR. Like, we are thinking about action, what has been done, action, impact, result, right? Or action, result, and impact, right? So you want to think of that when you are talking. So that is also how you build your product sense. What has been done? What has what has the outcome been? So action, outcome, impact, revenue. So whatever you are saying, make sure that you are thinking of, as you're saying it, you are thinking of the task or the action. You are thinking about the result or the outcome, right? And the revenue at the end of it. Then this is just a metrics cheap shape that could be used by everybody. So say you want to understand some things or you want to talk in certain language or so sometimes people have concerns about what to say per time. So sometimes you might be communicating saying, oh, there is a revenue. Okay, we made so and so revenue. But revenue is actually a big word in the product world, right? So you have to break it down. What type of revenue was made, right? Revenue is not just revenue in tech or in the product world. Like you need to break it down. Was it gross merchandise value? Was it average revenue per user? Was it lifetime value? Like what has been done? What is revenue to you? So you need to break it down in relation to the product that you're building or the product that you have. So the second one is CAC, like customer acquisition cost, for example. So what what is the cost of you being able to acquire that customer. So these are just metric sheets. So there are a lot of them, a lot of them. So please do your research, familiarize with these points, and please understand how they work and where to use them, right? There's also activation rate, virality. Like for some products now, one of the ways they're able to measure their growth is how viral they go, how they, that kind of stuff. For example, if any of you had watched or read up about um what's it called? Is the sorry, ChatGPT, when people started to drop off ChatGPT and signing up to Claude, right? A lot of people had the or read about what transpired between some Altman at that time, what transpired between Sam Altman and the whole US government, and how Claude was against them offering or using their products some for certain things, right? And how Claude was not willing to go back on their decision. And people started to drop off ChatGPT because they couldn't trust Sam Altman. So Sam Altman usually builds his product around his brand, around his own personality, like around himself. So people see Sam Altman and see ChatGPT basically. So people hearing or reading what Sam Altman posted on X at the time, it made people lose trust. And when customers lose trust, imagine like your personal information, knowing fully well that your personal details, your information, your secrets, they don't seem safe, right? People started to drop off and sign on to Claude. And I think within how many hours, Claude had more than 30 million or whatever users. It was exorbitant. It was crazy. It was a lot. And since then, what has happened? Claude has found a way to consistently keep users on their application. In the space of about 3 or 6 months now, they've probably dropped more than how many products almost every other day. You are seeing Claude drop one product or the other. Recently, they dropped Claude Design. Very soon, they will have Claude Operations, and it's just going to be going on and on, right? They are creating a solution for every industry, right? What I'm going to talk about the AI part and how it influences your role, right? But I just want to go through the slide and we'll talk about that and we'll take all the questions. And the third one is retention. So for retention as well, you have the churn rate. You need to think of the monthly or the annually part of it. You have the net revenue retention as well. You have the DA, you have the restart, everything. You have the efficiency in terms of efficiency. Are you thinking one multiple? Are you thinking the magic number? Are you thinking cost margin? Are you thinking engineering ROI, input or output? What are you really thinking about it? So these are like some examples. So please your do your research just to like know more about how to use this word and where to use them in your everyday activities. Then when you're pitching your product or your idea to the leadership team, which is mostly the higher stakeholders now, what are you really doing? What are the things that you see, right? So I created this, I have used this framework. Everything that I've shared basically are things that I have used and I think it has worked for me, even while I was a designer as well. I think there was a time I had to build a product and it was a lot. And as a designer, you probably have about 3 projects or 3 designs within the company that you're working on, 3 products like that you have to be working on. So you just need to be very clear. If not, you have a burnout. So you need to define what you are doing. And I think creating all these frameworks really helped me as a designer. And I think that was where my manager really realized that, okay, she has the management skills and she has that ownership quality. And that we had a meeting where I then had to start picking up product ownership, within my design team, within the product team as well, getting involved in writing our PRDs, our product documentation. I started getting meetings, like opportunity to join high stakeholders meeting within the company And it's because of the ways I've been able to communicate. For example, while I was a designer, I'm not the type of designer that just receives PR design that to like design. I do my research. I think I compare the PRD, not like compare, I dissect it. I try to understand what I'm building, why I'm building, and who I am building it with. There was a time we had an issue, like we were about to create like a card product at the time, and I felt like whatever the PM had written, I think he must have kept some research and blah blah. Maybe due to pressure and like everything else. I had to sit down and after I did the work, I came back to the group, to the Slack channel, and I was communicating there that okay, this section of this section, I think we've not been able to figure out the infrastructure and the approach we will be using. Are we connecting this to this? Do we have are we connecting to Plaid here? What are we really doing here? And normal conversations of oh, no, no, you will argue, you will come back, you guys will communicate, but eventually there it's good for you to challenge things, but do not go on to challenge without having an understanding. Do your research, know what should be there, contribute. Don't sit back, don't hold back. Share yourself, like ensure that you share your knowledge and take that leadership. But the product, any product role to me is a leadership role. It requires you to communicate. It requires you to praise people, and you must be able to communicate constructively without looking like you are confrontational, right? So that's why you need to have a clear framework or context on how you communicate to people so that they can understand you. And you also have to give people the grace, right? They might not know, they might not really understand. And it is okay. Everybody learns on the job, right? So you want to communicate in a way that you give them a context of what you are trying to solve. You give them the problem. Okay, this is the context. Our Q3 objective is to grow paid version from 8% to 12%. The problem right now is that 64% of trial users, if they pay well before experiencing the core value, this is the best, right? We believe the best is you like saying that what can be done. So that is your bet. What can be done? And you can replace bet with what can be done. You can create bet with solution or probability. Because at the end of the day, it's a game of probability, right? It's a game of probability, but you must be sure that you have done enough research that your probability stake is higher than anybody's one, so that when things go wrong, it doesn't fall back on you. Basically, so you can say we believe if we move the paywall 2 steps later, meaning you want to introduce some new screens or some user journey within that um that user experience, the conversion will lead by 35%. So those are the things you want to say. Then the evidence would be A and B tests on 5K users showed for 28%. You want to scale it. That means you've done this before and or you've been able to prototype this, and when you prototyped it, this was what it gave you. But you believe or you feel like if you with the research you have done, if you go ahead to fix this is what the result will turn out to be. Then you can then inquire like we need 3 weeks of engineering time. Expected return is this and this. In average times revenue. What can be done, right? That way you've been able to communicate what you need, your problem, what the solution would be like, your research based on your evidence based upon your research and what you need to be able to build the product. This is the top that is saying 5 things to do starting from today. So these are your key takeaways. You need to reframe every feature into a revenue or retention story. Learn your company's top 5 revenue metrics, goals. Build a one-pager business case for your next roadmap item. After every sprint, write one sentence. What value was created? In your next executive meeting, lead with impact, not output. So the first one, right, is reframe every feature into a revenue or retention story. Like I said in the beginning of this talk, right? At the end of the day, you have to think revenue for the company, but you also have to remember that you are building for users. And if you're not able to create a product that retains your users, for them to be able to use your product, you are not going to be able to have a product that scales. And you won't be able to build revenue, which in turn will not lead to anything. So you want to champion with that mindset when you're building, right? Or when you're thinking of adding a feature, right? So you are thinking of a feature as a solution, not just like an add-on, basically. Then you want to learn your company's top five revenue metrics. So there are different kinds of revenue metrics, just like we have mentioned, the average revenue, returns, and all of those things. So you want to know what all these things are. You want to research, right? So you keep iterating and iterating. And the best ways to iterate is to document as much as possible. Ensure that you are documenting, ensure that you are writing things down. Don't say you want to say things in your head. You know, when I got my first product job, one of the things that I, because I like to write, I write a lot. I like to write, like, I like to write so much. I, I like to document. I just love documenting. It makes my life easier. It saves me from burnout and it just helps me stay organized, right? Anyway, you see me, you see books and sticky notes and different colored pens. Like, I just love to write. And I have a particular note or journal that I set aside for work. If I document a meeting, that's that's how detailed I am. I don't when I have a meeting, I write it down. Like I write things down during the meeting, things that I don't want to forget, things I want to note down or put back into what I'm working on. I write it down. And what this has done for me is it has helped me to be able to, like my CEO can just randomly reach out to me at any point in time, right? There are times where there is um there is a need for some specific set of people to work on something because they believe that they can ship things fast. And the reason why they believe you can ship things fast is because you have a track record. You've been able to show that you can do it, right? So they know that they can bet on you. You will bring in money, like you, not money, but you your skills are efficient enough to help the company to get to where it needs to be, which is like any new, like increasing revenue and bringing in new customers, right? What it has done for you, what building that skill set has done for you is it puts you right in front. It puts you right in front. It gives you that higher opportunity, right, to be able to have access to what your other colleagues might not have access to, right? So that's that. Build a one-pager case study for your business roadmap item. After every sprint, write one sentence. What value has it created? Okay, we worked on for the let's use the library again. We worked on fixing this issue that the users had. They were not able to get any library close to them, or when they sign up, they are unable to even see any library. What has it done? Like after fixing that, what has it done? The value it has created is it has helped our users to be able to access libraries within their community or within their community, basically. And as a result of that, that's the action that has taken place. And as a result of that, we've been able to reduce churn rates by 30%. And this has helped us to generate about 5,000 K in revenue within the last 8 weeks. That is one example. Then in your next executive meeting, you want to lead with impact. So what a lot of PMs do when they are doing their sprint is when they want to have these meetings or when they are having stand up, they start with, oh, we couldn't do this or we couldn't complete this so far. So when during the last time, oh, this was not completed, this was not done. Already you're already bringing this energy that makes your other colleagues think that if you are not in charge of things, it makes them think they can't trust you. So we want to communicate with things that they've been able to achieve. It might not be a lot of things, but let the outcome, let it go ahead of whatever would would follow that. Okay, last week, these were the things we were able to do. You can even decide to start it within your company to say, okay, create like a springboard, right? Every week you update it, create a framework that works with your company. All right. You can break it down to design tasks, engineering tasks. Every week you would update it. What has been done? What is left? What needs to be done? You can go to Slack and call out engineering. At engineering, this is blocking me, or this is yet to be completed. So, be proactive basically in getting things done. So the last part is the best PMs in the room are not the ones with the best ideas. They are usually the ones who can speak the language of the business. Now you know how to do it. So let's 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 take it to your questions. But before we take the questions, I think before we before we then go on to speaking with other people, I want to talk about the questions that Oroloa mentioned before we started. Then I can then pass it back to Ore or for people that might need or have anything they would like to talk about. And yeah, so I'll just touch up on that. Um, I think one of the questions that were asked were who is a product owner? What does the product owner do? What are the responsibilities of a product owner? What do I need to do as a product owner? What are the requirements of what I should know as a product owner? And I'm glad for, well, whoever that might be, thank you for asking that question. Because at the end of the day, what you need to understand again is that knowing these things, they are really important. And I think they are the basis on which you build, right? They are basically like the basis on which you need to build. You need to know what exactly you are doing and why you are doing them. So, who is a product owner? So, I like to say that a product owner is a person who helps to move. Well, some people say product owner is a mini CEO. I don't agree. But a product owner is like an individual or maybe like a person who basically helps to move the company's goals forward, who helps to define it and who helps to break it down, right? I like to say that's who a product owner is outside of a lot of other things. But if you would ask me closely, I would say for me, a product owner needs to be the kind of person that says no. And it's not just somebody that says no. It's about you saying no strategically, you saying no based on research. Because at the end of the day, you find yourself saying yes to everything. If care is not taken, you're probably going to be saying yes to everything they ask you. You're going to be saying yes to, oh yes, let's add this. Yes, we need to work on this task. Oh, this ticket has not been moved. Oh, this has not been done. But you want to make sure that that's not where you just sit. That's not where your work ends. That's not where your career. Like personalize the role to fit who you are, to fit the kind of goal you are trying to achieve, right? One of the things that a PO does, number one, you have to have a product sense. you have to understand, well, it's not compulsory to have design background, but you don't need to be a designer, but know what it requires and know what it entails. Understand user perspective, understand user design, user experience, user interface, understand business and design architecture, understand how to prototype, understand the importance of prototyping. You need to also know what it entails to be able to bridge the gap between business success and long-term customer retention and user needs too. So you need to be able to think of that, right? You also need to to think of how you can lead. How can you lead? Say, for example, the CTO is not around, the CEO is not available. How are you able to fit into that role and make product decisions? Can they trust you to make the decisions, or they always have to, or you always have to wait around for them to like come back and start saying, no, okay, this is what we should do, or this is what we shouldn't do. Like, how are you able to really like merge all this gap for them to be able to for them to be able to understand what you are doing? Are your team able to understand what you are building? Are your team able to really grasp what you are saying to them? Do they trust you to make decisions? So these are the things that I feel like for products, it stays at the intersection of this. So put yourself in the middle. Think about user. Think about your team. Think about revenue. Think about revenue and business goals, and think about your stakeholders. So you are literally like in the middle of all these people, and your decisions has to be like around these people. So you are like the bridge basically that guides everybody. So you want to make sure that when you're making your decisions, it is just right around it, right? And another question that I think was asked again was, then you also have to be agile, right? You not agile. You need to think of how to use agile and scrum. So you just have to understand how agile works. And what that means is you are able to think of how to build fast. What are the frameworks that work within your company, or what are the um frameworks that you can adopt that can help you to generate results and impact within your company, right? Your Scrum frameworks could include, oh, okay, we are building this. How am I able to break down this task for it to translate to business revenue? Okay, we want to build this library app or this app that helps people to be able to use the library or connect them to the libraries in the community. You are probably thinking of, okay, fine, somebody needs to design, somebody needs to write the code. Okay, for the designers, how many designers do we need? One. Number two, how can we break the task such that the designers will know what to do and how to pick up the task, right? We want to break it down into, fine, we need a sign up page. We need the sign up page. So that's where you combine with the designer. And that's why I said you need to have an understanding of design. You don't need to know design, but know what it entails. You know that, okay, there has to be a design page, there has to be a pop-up screen, what is going to be the functionalities of the app. So a designer can come to you now and say, oh, I need 3 months to design this application. Obviously, that's not going to be possible. Why is it not going to be possible? Because you are not going to design one application for 3 months to give the company. It's not just going to be possible because there's just always going to be something that you have to do or that you have to work on, right? So you might decide to say, oh no, that's not going to be possible. Okay, what are the things that you want to do? Okay, let's break your tasks down. Okay, these are the things you have to do. I think you do not need 3 months. Let's just try to work with a month, right? This week you should be able to close off on designing the interface for the sign up, the login screen, prototype it for it to be functional, and I want you to present this at every stand-up during the week, right? To show to actually show what they are doing, right? You want to create that culture. You can call it all, some company call it all and some company call it stand up. So stand up is when you just come on board and talk about, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Then all hands is when everybody comes on board or comes and talks about what they are doing there. They'll present what they are doing within the team. So you can decide to have that your own weekly thing as the PM of the company or as the product owner of the company that okay, I want to include this. It's important for us to do this. So it all also boils down to you as well. So another thing again that you can also do is to what's the word? Is to try to is to try to come up with examples of things that the company has already built and now they've been able to achieve it, right? Say every every week or every 2 weeks as a PM or product owner you want to find a way to keep people in that mind frame of getting things done. Okay, in between January and February, or between the Q1, these are the things that we're able to achieve from the roadmap. These are the things that we did. These are the things that we did, and you would congratulate the team for getting it done. It doesn't mean they've not. It doesn't mean they've actually like completed everything that they need to do, but you need to give people the opportunity to know that yes, they are moving on with things that they have to do, and you need to be able to show them and give them that space to feel appreciated and encouraged. So you get. So that's an example of something that you can also add to things that you do. Another example, another question that was asked was benefit of business goals as well. Like business, so I think it has to do with understanding business goals and how it benefits the company. I think I hope I'm right. And what does do? Okay,
Yeah, I could say the question again. It says how to clearly articulate and communicate the intersection between product benefits and business goals to create a win-win for both the customers and the business.
yeah. So thank you so much. So in my explanation, I was talking about impact. So one of the best ways for you to be able to articulate the business goal and the business goal to create a win-win for both the company and the user is to be able to define it based off on value. What value do you want to create as a company, and what value do you want your users to take advantage of? So you break it down based upon your metrics. Okay, let's take it back to the let's take it back to the let's take it back to the what's it called to the slide. I think I want to show you a specific example, right? Um, specific example that fully, fully, fully shows that shows this particular question that we are talking about. So let me try to do that. Mm, okay. So I'm just going to go on to share my screen again. Then we go back to the topic. Oh, so just give me a minute. I'm trying to see what's going on. Then after that, I think I'm going to take Daramala's question. I really want to answer that because I've been getting a lot of that question. So I really, really, really want to answer that. I really want to answer that as well. I really want to answer that as well. So I really want to take that. My problem with this is I want to ensure that another thing is if anybody also wants this slide, I could share it with them. Maybe you might have something, maybe it could just help you in any way. I'm open to sharing that too. You can speak to Ore and we'll take you up from there and see our best. If that's fine by Ore. Yeah, right?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is, I think there was a part, let me go back. Yeah, right. So I'm going to mention this part and I'm also going to talk about this metric shape and I'm also going to talk about I'm going to just go back to this very quickly, very quickly. So we're thinking about how to like create or how to articulate this idea or this point to help us create a win-win for both the business and the customers that are involved. So it boils down to what are we trying to solve and what value are we trying to create, right? And also how are we able to measure this? So don't think too hard of it. Break it down for yourself. Okay, what am I trying to achieve? What do I want my customers to achieve? Figure out what their pain points are, right? What do I want the business or the company to achieve? Break it down into points. Then that's where you start building the momentum. You don't have to figure it out straight up. Once you're able to highlight that, right? You then think of on the business side, we want to generate revenue, we want to figure out our churn rate, what are the risks involved. I want to ensure that we do not expose an API that affects or puts the safety of our users in jeopardy. Right. So these are all the things you want to think of. So you have to be able to break things down as much as possible. Because what it does for you is it shifts your perspective. You just have to shift your perspective, right? So once you've been able to break these things down, it gets clearer for you on what you are building and how to build it. Another good thing again is you think about a company that has done almost the same thing, maybe the same thing that you're doing or something similar to what you're about to build, and use it as an example of what to expect and how to create what you are creating. That could also help you to understand deeply how well to define your own because yes, all this you would need to think about user pain points, but you need to think about what your user's pain point is that applies to the product and to the company that you're building with and building for. So I could say that your user pain point could be churn rate. And it might be that the issue is retention. So at the end of the day, it's not just going to be about you saying, oh, this is what the problem is. You need to define it and tailor it to what the problem is. We think that we are unable to retain our customers and the application, and how can we fix this, right? And guess what? If you are able to provide what your users need, and that's what I would always say that you are building for the users, and without creating products that can retain them on the application. And when I say retain them, how well can the product accommodate their needs and provide them solutions, right? So if you're unable to create this this solution, they are not going to stay and you will not be able to make profit or revenue. So if you can fix the issues or half of the issues of what your customers are facing, most definitely it's a win-win because that way you're able to make money. And when you're able to make money and if the company is able to make money, like everybody's fine. It's a win-win, right? So I think that is that. I hope I've been able to answer that question in the best way. Then I think I want to quickly attend to Victor Darmala's question about how AI is taking the shape in the product industry and how this could tentatively affect entry level roles and all of these things. So at the end of the day, I get what you mean by entry level, but don't just see yourself as an entry level talent. See yourself as a junior talent, right? And what so you need to see yourself in that position as okay, I'm a junior level, I'm in a junior level role. I've been able to build this, and that's why you have to personally work on projects by yourself, right? To understand what it entails, so that you are able to position yourself. And this is where excellence comes in. You have to be excellent at what you are doing and the career you are trying to build. Right? There is just no two ways about it. So what you want to do is to position yourself as a junior level talent, such that when you go out there, you are not competing for entry level roles. Yes, it's very possible. I did not I did not intern as a product designer, right? I never interned for my role as a product designer. The only thing I made sure that I did was to work on projects. And when I was working with when I was 7, I was working with Alezo, it's like an e-commerce company back in IB, and I had the opportunity of working in the IT team. So on the IT team, so because I studied entrepreneurship, most people just think, oh, she just, you know, they wanted to put me in the IT department, in the customer care department. So I knew that was not going to work for me because that's not the career roadmap I built for myself. That was not my journey. That was not my plan. And if you know me very well, there was no way I was going to function or they were not going to get the best of me in that role, right? I knew what I wanted to do and I knew my personality. I know what I would do that will bring results. I knew what I could offer. So when they told me, oh yes, just like every other core member, they were just throwing them in. Once they check your course of study and everything, they just throw you in what's it called? Sorry. They will then just throw you over to what's it called? They will then just throw you over to sorry. Hello, can you hear me? Just want to be sure the audio is working. Hello, can you
Hi.
guys hear me? Okay, great. I just wanted to be sure the audio was working. So once they like see what you're studying and like everything, they just put you in customer care. And I just knew I couldn't be there. So before I joined, so right from when I was in uni, I knew I wanted to land a role before getting done with my uni. So I right from day one, I was working towards that goal. And I got a job before completing my uni. I got a full-time job when I was in final year. And how did I do all of this? I was volunteering from day one. If there was any tech event in Abeokuta, because I schooled in Funa Federal University of Agriculture. So if there was any event happening, I was on top of it. I was the one bringing in the information for people in my college and like everything. I attended a lot of Google developers events. You couldn't really tell that I wasn't even in computer science because I was so involved. I knew this was an industry I wanted to work in, and I just started to build it. I didn't know exactly where it was going to lead me, but I knew what I wanted, and I knew the industry. I didn't know that eventually I would go into product management or product ownership, but I've always had that leadership skill right from time. Like even when I was in secondary school, I'll be the team lead on like project works, and then even when I was in uni, it was the same thing. Right. So it has always been there somehow. I just needed to build it and work on it and fine tune it. So they put people in customer care, but I felt like it wasn't going to serve me. What I did was I packed my portfolio, everything that I had worked on. I went on to the HR team. I said I wanted to see the manager, and I spoke to the HR and said, okay, this is what I've been able to do. I think you will get the best of me if you put me in this department. These are the things that I could do. These are the things that I could do. I understand that I studied this, but I majored in project management when I was in uni, and these skills could benefit the IT team. And this is one of the problems that I identified when I was here. This is how best I think I could bring the solution. And what did I do? When I joined the IT team, there were a lot of manual handling that was going on. There was a lot of problems and issues that were going on. People, the office was always filled with people coming to make complaints, bringing their laptops to the office. It was crazy and it was a lot. And what did I do? I created, then aside that, we used to also provide airtime to people that worked in warehouse and all of those things for them to be able to call their customers or the companies that they're supplying to and like everything. And I saw that communication process between people at the warehouse, the operation manager at the warehouse, the operation was lagging up. The communication was not very efficient. So people in the company at the HQ, the headquarters, it was difficult for them to reach the people at operations within the warehouses. And at that time, there were like a lot of warehouses that Alezo owned at that time. So it was just a lot of back and forth. I was spending a lot of money on supplying airtime and data every week. And what did I do? I created a product called Staffer that enabled them. In fact, I built it. I used Glide. All I needed was the data of the company, the the people at the warehouse. I got all their numbers. Good thing I'm good. I'm quite good with Excel. So I used Glide to build the product. And within some days, I had my app work. It was working. I had everybody test running. We didn't need to start calling them. We didn't need to start spending unnecessary money on certain things, on airtime, on sending messages on data. Because all you have to do was just to have data. And if you have Wi-Fi, you can connect from the office and you are good to go. You can drop any information on the group chat within the application. You can call somebody from the app. You can send message. You can send emails from the app, and to track all of these things. So somebody would not say, "Oh, I didn't see your mail" or something. That was what I brought to the team. And when it was time for me to leave, everything that I had done, and before I left, I was going to be retained. But before I left, I was already like applying to other places. I knew what I wanted, and I knew, okay, this is good, but I could do more. I had the opportunity of getting the job that I got with the fintech company right from there, and that was all the experience that I had to present when I was doing the interview for the job. And I worked with the company for as long as I could till I moved, and then I switched to another company and another one. So sometimes the experience you really need is you figuring things out on your own by building things. Yes, think of money. Think of how to make money now for yourself. But you have to think of how can I bring my skills or how can I bring myself to bridge that gap between being seen as this high professional to being seen as an entry level person. Bridge that gap for yourself such that when those opportunities come, you are ready. And now I'm going to relate this to AI. There is a fear that people have that, oh, maybe AI is going to bridge that gap and it's going to be difficult for me to get even a junior role, or with AI now, I'm not going to be able to like get an entry level job, or it's going to be so difficult. The truth is, I get the place of AI, and you also have to understand that AI cannot work without you. You see, AI would do its own part of providing you with answers, but does it give you the exact answer? My own answer is no. So how did I figure this out? It's good. AI is good. It helps you to figure some things out. That's the most it will do. It gives you option. But if you do not iterate, right, you are not going to get anything. If you do not iterate, you are not going to get anything. And that is just the honest truth. For example, I was building an app on Vessel called TechTruth, right? And the idea was to actually just build an app that helps people to be able to that helps people to be able to that brings other people together, that talks about tech news and everything, that helps people to also discover tech products, like the best tech product. The first iteration that gave me, it was nothing like this. This was not the first iteration it gave me. I then had to tell it what I really wanted. And at first, the funny thing was at first it was saving the data on the on my laptop such that whenever I had to restart my system or go or like if it shuts down, everything wipes off. So AI can get things done, but you still need to define things. You still need to use it. So basically, you need to know how to use AI to arrive at like a result. It's not going to replace. Will it reduce the amount of product roles we have out there? Yes. It will reduce or limit it, but it doesn't replace the people. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a case of whoever is good with using AI or whoever understands the role of AI in their role, those are the people that will be able to have those are the people that would have the advantage. So it is going to be based upon how best do I understand how to use this thing to make my work more efficient. So at the end of the day, AI does not replace you. Does it limit or reduce the number of roles we have out there? Yes, it does. Does it replace people? No, it doesn't. So I get the pain point, but this is what I've been trying to tell a lot of people as well. At the end of the day, you need to find a way to understand how it works, right? Now, I had to be telling it to upgrade this. And another thing again is you need to know how to communicate with AI. I can give you a prompt now, and the prompt it will give you will be based off on how AI knows you, right? So I have to be the one to be telling it to use a Tailwind version. So if I do not understand what Tailwind is, if I do not understand engineering, I have just a little understanding of these things. If I do not understand what these things mean, I won't be able to use it efficiently. I won't be able to use it efficiently. For example, for openness, I wasn't ready to start going through somewhere. All I did was to work on the wireframe, and I uploaded it. I used Vue.js, and I just found a way to like read about how to go about it, and that was it. And I was able to build openness websites with my prototypes, and I connected it to my Figma design, and I just figured it out through research and everything because I wasn't ready to go through that long stress of looking for an engineer. I had my engineer, like one of my software developer friends, helped me to like explain like a few things and make me understand what to do next and how to correct some things. But I was able to do it by myself. I might not be skilled, but I have the knowledge, I have the understanding of how to go about. So at the end of the day, It is not going to replace you. So what I want you to take out right now is take out that fear of feeling or thinking that your job is going to be taken away by AI. Take it out the back door. It's not going to happen. Okay? It's not going to happen at all. That's not just going to be your case. You are going to be able to do what you have to do. You are going to be able to function properly and not no, it's not just going to it's not going to happen. So I do not want you to I do not want you to think AI is going to take your job. No, it's not going to take your job. What you have to focus on is what are the skills? What are the AI skills I need to learn? Prompt engineering, I have to learn it. I have to learn how to how to um, bring my product sense into prompt engineering. So these are the things you should think of. AI doesn't take your job, no. And in fact, it is not going to take it. So I hope I've been able to explain to some extent. Yeah, I hope I've been able to explain that to Victor and also the first person's question. Let's quickly roll up. Sorry, Ore.
Hi, Fage. Thank you so much. Yes, and Victor just dropped in the comment that you have been able to explain that. Says thank you. Also, and I have one more question here. And the person is saying, how do we communicate business value during the product development stage where KPI or OKR metrics can't be measured at this stage? Because at this stage, there are no real users.
Can you take that question again, or could you help me drop it also in the chat? Okay, just read it again. Just read it
Okay,
again.
it's in the Q&A section, but I just dropped it in the chat and it
Okay, great.
says, oh, sorry,
I'm trying to find it.
yes.
Um,
How do we communicate business
okay, how do we
value?
communicate business value during the product development stage where KPI or OKRs metrics can be managed at this stage? Because at this stage, there are no real users and the timestamp and SOM enough. So how best do I explain this to make for it to make sense, honestly? I think I think um okay. So when you say stage, I think I want to get what you mean, right? So first off, are you talking about, okay, you are talking about the product development stage. So at the end of the day, for the product development stage, right, you need to understand that your end goal. So when you are building, yes, you are in your product development stage, but you are not thinking of just that part. You are thinking of the end goal, right? Yes, you are at the product development stage, but you need to find a way to use your goal as a metrics. So within your goal, right, you've been able to break down your KPIs, your OKRs, right? And your product development stage, it also depends on the kind of product that you are building and how long you want to build for. Because at the end of the day, yeah, product development stages are sometimes very, very like long, but you want to make sure that you want to make sure that um you've been able to bring yourself to the point where you made your goals clear from the beginning. So I think it's important for you to know what you are building and why you are building, and for you to be able to know the kind of metrics. You have to define it from the start. So, for example, for the library part of things, right? For that example, we knew what we wanted to do. We knew what the value was, right? We wanted to create an opportunity for people to like use the library more, bring more efficiency to accessibility in the library, in the use of the library, right? Another thing is there was also an health benefit that I did not mention. It's important for people to step out. Especially people that work from home. You need vitamin D. That's also a way to get people out of their houses every day without staying in the dark room, right? It all has, so you are also presenting health benefits, not just the other way around. And these are things that you can slot into the app. So in your development stage, when you are thinking of your metrics now, one of the things that you can use as your metrics here is your health benefits. You can use the health benefits, the health part. You can, I think you can also still use your revenue. That's the honest truth. You can still use your time as well. You can use your time. You can use your time. You can use your SOM. That's your for I think you people should become conversant with the serviceable or obtainable market. So how have you been able to define this market? Who are the people in that market that you are targeting, right? And this has to be clear. This has to be clear, So you just have to ensure that from the beginning you have defined your KPIs. You have to define it from the beginning. Don't wait till the end, because what you've not explicitly defined from the start is going to come back to haunt you. And that's why a lot of times product direction gets a little bit saddled. So you begin to have issues when you move out of that product development stage, because remember that you're not going to be in that stage for too long or forever. So you want to start at, and that's another way to be revenue conscious and to be business conscious as well. But the moment you start attaching all your goals and visions to your KPIs and your OKRs, it wakes you up to actually know that this is what I am building for, and this is why I am building. All right. You might not have your real users yet, but have people within the company that test running, have conversations, create a prototype, make people use it. It doesn't have to be your users out there. It might just be like within the company or within you. Get your friends to just walk through your idea process with somebody. Your friends might be the users that you might bring on board. Let them be the ones to test it. Yes, in that stage there are no real users, but you can do something like a Q&A section or an inquiry section where you like bring two people. They might be your friends or people that you're familiar with. Oh, I'm trying to build this. This is what this app does. I'm trying to build this. Show them a wireframe. It might just be five screens. That I'm talking about the development stage. It might just be just five screens. Tie it to the goal, tie it to the value it is offering. Try to gather people's insight about, just think about what they can say and what you can take out of the conversation that you can then use to keep building the product. Maybe this would definitely help. So I hope I was able to explain that particular question. I think I will go to the next question that says, as a product marketer, what are your best tactics to change the mind of a stakeholder who doesn't understand or disapprove the business value of a strategy you are presenting to the board? Who doesn't understand or disapprove the business value of a strategy you are presenting to the board? As a product marketer, what are your best tactics to change? Okay, so for product marketers, what I always say is the most product marketers is you have to know how to sell. And selling is a skill. So you're a product marketer, what is your best tactics when you're speaking with stakeholders? that you want them and you want them to use your product, you have to switch from being a marketer to being a seller. You just have to know how to sell. In fact, almost any if you work in product, you just need to know how to sell. It is an important skill to know how to sell. Like it also helps you to have a very high retention rate and conversion rate. But I'll come back there. So you just have to know how to sell. And how is this going to help you, right? Knowing how to sell, it requires you to be able to tap into the emotions of your users. That means what can I do or what can I offer to this person that will make them be willing to drop their money? So think value. When we were talking about the kind of value that we can offer that could help our users to understand that we want what is best for them. Yes, we want their money. Yes, we want them to sign up. We want them to stay on the app. Well, yes, we want their money. So you need to think of the value that you are offering and think of how it benefits that stakeholder in particular. And this also boils down to communication. So you have to ensure that in terms of communication, you are able to also tap into their emotional side in a way that you are able to speak as a salesperson using business values with them. So I think sales, you can take a crash course on sales. Just take a crash course on sales. I think it is a very, very good tactics to have as a product marketer. Most importantly, you'll be able to sell faster. It is going to help you to understand how to also apply those skills to your customers and to your users too. So I hope that also helps.
Thank you so much. I think we have exhausted like all the questions
Yeah.
we have. But does anybody want to say anything? Like if you want to come up on stage or just type
Okay.
this session has been for you. Let's give
Okay,
her
somebody has just asked that they need help with getting an internship as a product manager. So I'm going to put my LinkedIn. Sorry to cut you, Ore. I just want to drop my LinkedIn here for a lot of people that have questions and some questions that I can also attend to outside of the chat. That's fine.
Okay.
So I've dropped my name. So just set me on LinkedIn, connect with me and drop me a message from Old School Africa and we'll take it off from there and yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you for having me. Is that all our questions? Do we have people that might want to say one or two things? Maybe we have some people that might just want to say something about what they think about this session. Is there any key takeaway? What would you say you have heard that has changed your perspective or your approach as a product person? I think I'd like to hear that. You're welcome, John. You're welcome, Kilechi. Yes, somebody mentioned data as well. So yes, as a salesperson, your data, you need to know your numbers. So your data as well, it comes in, your metrics comes in as a product person or as a marketer. So that is why I mentioned take a sales course, a crash. You would have yourself to thank at the end of the day. So yeah, this is very good. Big ups to Chinedu on that. So yeah.
So I saw two hands raised, Victor and Chinedu. I've given you the mic, so if you want to say something, you can just go ahead.
Okay, great. Yes, we'll take the two of them, then we would, yeah.
All right.
And
Good
you guys.
evening.
Good evening. Hello.
Hi. Yeah. One of the key things I learned today is trade-offs. That's how to be the balanced person between the user needs, the business goals, how to ensure that they are both catered for and to prioritize which one. And especially the example you used with Paystack, you know, about generating revenues. Do they need to build the infrastructure? Is there someone that has already built it that you can just, get to do it? I mean, these are things we think about though. Do I have to build everything that is in my product, or can I just get someone who has built something? Just real life scenarios about how things work, and how these software companies make decisions, and especially when it comes to goals. I mean, at the end of the day, every business wants to make profit, and it just gives us some insight into how these companies work. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm really glad you shared your view. I think that's a very, very good thing to note, and I hope it is able to help you with your product decisions going forward. Thank you so much, Victor. And the second person.
Hi, Chinedu. Or was that a mistake? Because I saw you lowered your hand again. But does anybody also have anything to say? You can just raise your hand. And if not, I think, yeah, Chinedu is not speaking up. But I think
Okay.
it was a mistake. But thank you so
Okay.
much, for your
Great.
time. This is like 2 hours into the session. I'm so grateful for you coming here to speak to our learners. And I'm sure, like Victor said, he has learned something special from today's session and many others that are not sharing here, but I'm sure they've learned a lot from here. So yeah, this is me saying thank you. And we are giving you your flowers while we are still here.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's always an opportunity, and I feel like it's just always such an honor to be able to speak with people that are trying to get into the product space. And thank you so much, and thank you for all you do at Old School as well. I think you guys are doing a great job. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much. Well done. All right.
so
Thanks for
much.
being a great host.
Thank you. All right, so I think I have shared your LinkedIn also on the chat, and if there's
Great.
people can reach out to you. I'll also be reaching out for the slides and sharing it with the learners after the session today.
Great.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
That's good. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great one, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.